Doug Kroll, a researcher, found an English translation of a ship's log from an unknown French sailing vessel in the archives of Nova Scotia in the year 2017. The log identified a prospective suspect who was responsible for one of the treasure dumps, and that suspect was a French admiral from the 18th century who was known as the Duc de Fives. The record details the discovery of a deep bay to the southwest of Shuo Bay, which is today known as Halifax Harbor. The bay is surrounded by several hundred small islands that are wooded to the shore. Due to the large quantity of treasure that is on this vessel, it would be imprudent to put it in danger in any potential engagement. On September 8th, it was decided that a deep pit bidou and treasure would be securely buried in the pit. On September 13th, a 67-ton pit appeared damp from the southeast of the seawater, so they decided to go deeper to dry soil. Later, on September 10th, the expedition led by Duc de Fives arrived in Nova Scotia with the intention of retaking the fortress of Louisbourg, with the exception of one ship that was not identified and was discussed. Because of his friendship with Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, Louis Alexander Rick Holdson of the Duke Anvil is an intriguing character. There is a possibility that Louis Alexander Roe, in his friendship with Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, may have told them about Oak Island or any secrets that were hidden there. If they had known about Oak Island, they might have been able to use a portion of the treasure from Oak Island as a means of financing the war and helping to establish the new country. Lagena is assisting a woman in New York who has been conducting study on the Templars for the past 7 or 8 years. She possesses a number of documents that are of interest, including a map of Oak Island and a map of Nova Scotia. A strong emphasis is placed throughout the work on the significance of making connections and gaining an understanding of the possible connection between the Aztec Revolution and the American Revolution. There was a finding of a cipher in a manuscript that was dated between 1178 and 1180. The document discusses the temple voyage to the northern portion of America and the arrival of the temples on an island called Oak. The cipher appears to employ the same symbols as the 90-foot stone cipher, which was concealed in a book. Some of the words that are included in the cipher are gray, as the text indicates. Joab was a general in King David's army who spent time in northern Africa. Ur Goldcephala was the location of the first Portuguese fort and factory, which was built on the east coast of Africa in the year 1505. In addition to the fact that the map of Oak Island contains French phrases that designate locations like basin and marsh, it also shows that someone arrived on the island in the year 1347. The map also shows the swamp on the NL, which is located inside the island. The dam and the oak tree enter the island at this point, which is a pointer to the money pit. It is mentioned that there are 2 or 3 unknown things. A valve and a hatch are anchors. There is no expectation that Lagena's research would result in answers. However, her notion is entirely original and is supported by documentation. Travis Taylor is present to discuss the findings of the cipher and the analysis of the chart. He explains that uranium was discovered close to the island, and when it decays, it produces radon, which is a valuable metal. The text concludes by expressing gratitude for the assistance of Travis T. and the support of the research team. The concept is that if there is a void under the surface, for a period of time, uranium will cause it to fill with radon gas, particularly if there is no ventilation in it. Radon is soluble in most materials, and it is a valuable metal. The presentation by Travis Tyler offered a fresh viewpoint on the process of locating cavities using radon testing. Travis started reading more about Oak Island and came up with his own theory as to what may have happened. He found that almost everyone involved in investigating the island was Freemasons. One of the first things that jumped out at him was Hammurabi's Freemason drawing template, which had meanings based on astronomy. The hand of God holding a chalice, or the Holy Grail, was used as a symbol of as above. So below, the Freemasons would draw maps using stars as their guide, and the star on the upper right was actually 7 stars, which resembled the Pides. He started thinking that archaeoastronomy might have something to do with the island. He overlaid the constellation on the island, creating a star map that led them to the point on Oak Island where the actual treasure is. They came to the conclusion that the stones they saw were markers that were placed there by humans a long time ago to correspond with a star map. In order to further investigate the possibility of finding cavities through radon testing, Travis and Gary will need to obtain corroborative information first. Based on their findings, they will then draw conclusions. Travis and Gary made the decision to show Travis around the island, and they discovered several interesting points on the island. One of the points had a large boulder near the lot line between 3 and 2, and another point had a stone feature with a flat side that no one expects to find. The prize hunt is now stranger and more interesting because of this. In Season 5, the treasure hunters on Oak Island found something that fans and the group liked. The team thought this was strange, so they brought it back to land to study it in the lab. Later, the test showed that the material was leather with a piece that looked like paper. The staff was happy when they saw that it looked like a notebook cover. The research was more exciting when they found a real souvenir, like old papers or a notebook. Craig Tester, who is known for being cool and fair, had a crazy idea that shocked his fans and co-workers. Craig thought the leather object might have something to do with William Shakespeare, so he thought about making a notebook cover with a Shakespeare theme. Many people were surprised by Shakespeare's argument because it didn't go as planned. Craig Tester's strange idea was possible, but it surprised and interested everyone in the room. The riddle of Oak Island is made more interesting by the fact that the treasure hunt might find links to Shakespeare and other famous writers. Becky Tester and Craig got married a long time ago. He cares about their trip. Rebecca saw Craig as more than just a life partner. She had 2 kids from a past relationship. She thought he was a good parent. Craig is a good father who cares about his kids and treats Jack and Madeline like his own. He works hard and is honest. Drake, the Tester's 3rd child, brought them a lot of happiness and love. Even though Craig's job on Oak Island is hard, he has never kept it a secret from his kids. Because they were so open, the boys built a connection with each other and are now actively participating in the prize quest and going to the island to help. Drake Tester, who is the youngest, has been in a number of shows. It shows how close the family is and how much they want to learn about Oak Island that he is there. Drake is said to be a kind and polite young man who always helps others. Drake had a deadly epilepsy disease when he was born, which made things hard for his family. As a child and teen, he had to be watched all the time because he was sick, which made things hard for his family. Drake went to Children's High School until the 6th grade. He got his diploma from Traverse City Central High School. Drake's illness made things hard, but his tremendous energy and drive will always be remembered by everyone who knew him. Although Drake only appeared in a few scenes in The Curse of Oak Island from seasons 2 to 4, he gained a lot of fans. The cast of the show and his classmates liked him because he was always happy and positive. There was a small part for Drake Tester in The Curse of Oak Island, but people still remembered him. He worked hard at the brothers' Nova Scotia dig site when he was a child, so fans of the show knew him from that. The 2017 tragedy in the Tester family changed their lives. As a child, Drake Tester had seizures. He died a few months before he would have been 17 years old. People on Oak Island were shocked when he died suddenly.
You can feel his absence here right now. He would normally be sitting right here with me, but it's a terrible, terrible tragedy.
Drake's death wasn't shown until the Season 5 opening of The Curse of Oak Island in November. He passed away on March 26, 2017. It was very hard on Drake's dad, Craig Tester. Sadly, his son's death meant he had to quit the show. Drake Tester's death and the pain of those who worked with him on the wealth hunt at the beginning of Season 5 made Oak Island sad. A sudden, unexpected death in epilepsy. SUDEP. SUDEP happens when a seizure happens quickly and without notice. The cause of death must be determined after the death. Drake may have died after having a very bad seizure, but his family hasn't said for sure. Epilepsy is a very dangerous brain disease that causes people to have seizures all the time. Even though seizures only last a few minutes, they can be very bad for your health. Epilepsy is a big problem, and Drake Tester's death from SUDEP shows how bad it can be. His friends said that Drake was kind, happy, and loved. People who knew him will never be the same. Is it not clear how Craig Tester was affected by Drake's death? Losing a child is hard to understand. After a disaster like this, pain and suffering are personal and hard to handle.
He's struggling, of course, and his wife is struggling, and yes, you can feel his absence here right now. He would normally be sitting right here with me, but...
Drake Tester's quick death shows how fragile life is and how epilepsy can happen at any time. Craig was deeply moved by Drake Tester's sad death. It killed the fun character that people had loved for years. Craig put an end to The Curse of Oak Island and went home to be with his wife Rebecca while they were sad. Craig's life changed when he sold his biggest home in Michigan for $3.75 million in 2019. After that, he went to Traverse City, Michigan, which is close to Marty Lagina. Craig and Rebecca might have needed a new start and a change of scenery to get better and find peace. Craig didn't want to go back to The Curse of Oak Island after Drake's death in the summer of 2017. After losing his loved one, Craig needed to heal, and being away from the program helped. Craig Tester went to Oak Island to calm down after Drake Tester's sad death before leaving the show. Tester Sr. said that living on the island after Drake's death helped him forget how bad things were. In an interview with History in 2018, Craig said, "I think of him every day. It's been a hard year. The mystery draw of the island and the constant search for riches gave Craig a special place to deal with his grief and get better." Craig Tester was there for his stepson, Jack Begley, during this tough time. This shows how Oak Island works as a team. Jack, who loved treasure hunts as much as Craig did, became more than just Craig's friend